Hi there, I'm Dr. Roseanne Perkins from Kutztown University, and I'm going to talk a little bit about school librarian certification in Pennsylvania and how Clarion and Kutztown maybe can work together to help you out. In Pennsylvania, school librarians are certified teachers if you're working in K4, K-12 school settings, which means you do have to complete all the requirements to be initially certified by the state of Pennsylvania. All right, so we're going to go through a couple different ways to do that. So the first is, let's imagine you already have your MLS with a school librarian concentration from Clarion, which I know many of you do. In that case, you've already taken some teaching methods courses, children's and young adult literature, things like that. So you still would need to take a couple of courses at Kutztown if you don't have similar courses on your transcript. These would be 3 special education courses and an English language learning class. All right. You will still also need to complete a clinical experience. This is your student teaching. All right. This is 15 weeks placed with a mentor teacher within 1 hour drive of KU's campus that goes along with an online symposium class. Now, the reason it has to be within an hour of KU's campus is one of our faculty members has to be able to come out to observe you in your student teaching placement. So we can't ask them, to drive 4 hours to do that. So that's what that would take. The next is that if you have an MLS and you've already been hired as a school librarian. Now, it can only be if you are hired as a school librarian. That's your official title. It doesn't work if you're working for the school under a different title in a different department or program. You have to be the school librarian. All right. If you have that job already, you still need to take your special education courses and your English language learning courses, unless you have comparable courses on your transcripts. But now, instead of that traditional 15-week student teaching, you can apply for what's called an intern certification with the Pennsylvania Department of Education. Pass your praxis exams, and then you can use your job as a clinical experience, again, if you're close enough to KU that we can get out to observe you. All right, so this is really nice because with a traditional student teaching experience, you do have to basically work full-time in the school and not be paid, right? But in this case, if you're already hired as a school librarian, you are able to use your paid position as your clinical experience. All right, so it is nice if you can find a school district that's willing to hire you at that phase of your progress. So basically, there's 3 domains that we need to satisfy at Kutztown in order to endorse your certification with PDE. The first is your library science content. All right, so that's why if you have successfully completed your MLS coursework, through Clarion, we are able to say, yes, indeed, this person has the skills they need to be a librarian. All right. This is also the content that's mostly on your school librarian praxis exam. All right. The second is your teacher preparation. All right. And so this is demonstrated through those 3 classes that I talked about, your special education course in the special education departments, and then also that English language learners course, and then your fundamental subjects praxis exam. And then that third component, and it's the trickiest one for those of us who are trying to work and maybe have, obligations outside of going to school, is this clinical experience. And currently in Pennsylvania, there is no way around the clinical experience for an initial certification. All right. You have to do a full semester of student teaching. The only wiggle room, again, is what that intern certification program that I outlined earlier, where if you have a job as a school librarian, you can count that as your clinical experience. We still need to put you in a clinical experience course. We still need to have a faculty member who can go out and observe you, but at least you don't have to take a break from your full-time job or, something like that in order to complete the more traditional clinical experience. All right, so what if I have an MLS, but I did not do the school librarian concentration? Send us your transcripts. We will look to see if your coursework satisfies everything, or you might need to pick up a couple of classes. Most commonly, if you had, if you started your MLS and you were thinking maybe archives or higher education was your goal, and now you've changed your mind, you might be missing something like children's literature or a teaching methods course. So you would have to pick those up with us before you could move on. What if I cannot student teach within a reasonable distance of Kutztown? Now, that is an issue. There aren't that many programs in Pennsylvania, unfortunately, that certify school librarians. Right? Kutztown's one of them, and I believe Pitt is the only other one right now. We are working on this. We're working on ways that our university can collaborate with Penn West Clarion and maybe work something out in the future. And we're hoping to be able to offer a solution soon. Another option though is if you really need that initial certification and you can't get it from Kutztown, is that you can get your initial certification in another area of teaching. So pre-K4 or secondary ed or something like that, because you need that initial cert. Again, it's going to require student teaching no matter what you're initially certified in. But if you get your initial certification in a different area, not library science, then you can add your library science certification on top of that. All right, and it's still good. The key though is Pennsylvania does not allow you to be a K-12 teacher unless you have an initial certification in some area. And that initial certification will require some kind of clinical experience, that full semester of either student teaching or intern certification. All right, so there's just no way around that right now in the state. All right, so here's some helpful websites. If you're interested in looking a little bit deeper at PDE certification and the different programs that you can be certified in, I gave you a link to their website. I gave you a link to Kutztown University's library science program, and then the required praxis scores that you'll need in order to become a certified school librarian, no matter which direction you go in. All right. If you have questions, you can contact our department chair, Dr. Tracy Keys, or me. I am on sabbatical for spring 2025, so I'm not checking my email as frequently. But if you talk with Dr. Keys and you guys need to follow up with somebody or have additional questions that I might be able to answer, she knows how to get a hold of me. You can also reach out to me. I might just be a little more delayed than usual getting back to you. All right. Thanks. I hope that helped you. And please reach out to us if we can help you.